Hi. In this episode of Jesus 101, we're talking about the sin of ex post facto. There's no clear and explicit biblical prohibition on ex post facto rules and laws. Ex post facto is a Latin phrase meaning after the fact. It is an abuse of authority to bring a consequence for a rule or law that had not been made when the purported violation occurred. If the speed limit gets lowered this week, you shouldn't get a ticket for exceeding the new speed limit last week. The U.S. Constitution and many other governing documents explicitly prohibit ex post facto laws, and the golden rule pretty much covers all situations. Who wants to be punished for some alleged violation that occurred before a law or rule was even in place?
In your name I come alive to declare your victory. The resurrected King is resurrecting me.
The sin of ex post facto often creeps in. One example is changing community standards, leading to existing rules being interpreted and enforced in new ways. In other words, they're interpreted and enforced beyond the scope of original intent and in ways that they were not interpreted or enforced beginning when the law or rule was made. For example, the appearance or odor of marijuana has long been a harbinger of criminal activity. It has justified searches by law enforcement and consequences from employers, educators, and parents. And even though pot is still illegal at the federal level, and in many states as well, changing community standards are leading to calls for consequences for police who take marijuana as a sign of criminal activity, for employers who fire drug-abusing employees, and for parents who might spank drug-abusing teenagers. The wide acceptance of pornography has also created some ex post facto consequences for authorities who act against it. A school is facing a lawsuit from a mom who was prohibited from volunteering due to her OnlyFans account, where she produces and earns money from creating pornography. In spite of explicit requirements for those working with young children to be of good character, changing community standards now demand a consequence for authorities who are not eager to mix perverts with children. Likewise, schools and parents are more likely to get in trouble for spanking unruly children for offenses relating to porn. Spanking school children is still legal and permitted on paper in many Georgia school districts, for example, but it's almost never done because system employees fear the consequences based on liberal community standards. On the other hand, free speech relating to traditional family values, belief in Jesus, and the safe and legal use of firearms is more likely to be suppressed, but not on the basis of a clearly articulated rule. Changing community values have redefined talk of sexual purity to be hate speech. Changing community standards have redefined discussions of Jesus to be not inclusive. And changing community standards have redefined discussions on the safe and legal use of firearms to somehow be endangering. Social media enforcers commit the sin of ex post facto if a consequence is brought for an action that was completed before the rule was clearly articulated. Terms of service is often being updated, yet enforcement for material posted in the distant past is based on the current terms of service rather than the rules that were in place at the time of the original post.